Alrighty, let's get right to it. Okay, we're going to do inflation, which is measured by tracking the price of a basket of goods. This here is the basket of goods. It has what a typical family would buy in a given year. Okay, typical American family. May not be your family, may not be my family, but it is a typical American family. Okay, and that's the basket of goods, and we're going to measure this basket, right? Obviously a much bigger basket, but you get the point. This basket of goods, what it cost last year, what it's going to cost next year, what it costs 5 years from now, and the difference in the cost of that basket is inflation, because the items in the basket do not change. Okay, we keep the items in the basket the same, and then we have a breakdown of the basket. These are the groups of goods in the basket. All right, and then we weight the categories. So this is the percentage of those goods in the basket. You'll notice housing is almost half the basket. Right, food and beverage is next, followed by transportation. Right, those there make up those there. Those make up about 73% of the basket. And again, the basket amount is fixed. The only thing that changes is price. But every so often they have to readjust the basket because the items in the basket don't no longer apply, and we must replace them with items that do. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's take a little tour down memory lane. My memory lane. This was how I listened to music going to high school in Manhattan. Right? That was my device. I got a job in Great Neck, and this was how they listened to music. And now I'm teaching in a pandemic, and this is how you listen to music. Okay? How did I watch a movie? I watched a movie on either this or this. When I got to Great Neck, they were watching movies like this. How do you watch movies? You watch movies like this. All right, growing up, did we have games? Of course we had games. This was how we played games on our TV. Then we were upgraded to this. I also had this and this video game. But you guys have this and this. So you can see the items in the basket, they may be the same category, but the quality of the device does change. You can think of a TV also as another item that has changed over time. All right, so we're going to look at inflation, which is a general rise in the price level. It reduces the purchasing power of money, and the way we look at it is through the consumer price index. So what we need to do, I'm going to just look at these numbers. I'm going to put them on another slide. We're going to look at the basket of goods. So we're going to say, what was that basket of goods in 2018? That basket of goods cost $11,500. So this basket in 2018 cost $11,500. In 2019, it increased by $350. The same basket of goods, right? You can't change the items in the basket. It's the same basket, now costs $350 more. All right, so you have those numbers. Now we're going to do is we're going to construct a price index. First thing we need to do is come up with a base year. I'm going to pick 2018 for the base year. Why? Because it's my video and I get to choose. You can pick any year you want for the base year. All right, how do you get the base year? Well, in any price index, you're going to do the current price of the basket as your numerator, the base year cost of the basket as your denominator, and then times it by 100. So obviously we get a 1 times 100. The base year index will always be 100. Then we go down to the 2019 basket, and we put the current cost of the basket, $11,850, over the base year cost of the basket, which was $11,500, and we get a index of 103. So it's 100 in 2018, it's 103 in 2019. If you're comparing 2018 to 2019, you don't have to do a lot of math, you just go 3%. The change was 3%. So inflation from 2018 to 2019 was 3%. Now let's compare one more year. Okay, so we have our 2018 basket. Now let's do 2017. 2017, the basket cost $10,950. So we put $10,950 over the cost, right, of the base year. Base year hasn't changed, still 2018. So now we do 10,950 over 11,500, and we get 95. So we have an index for 2017 of 95. We have a base year index of 100, and then we have 2019, the index is 103. What if I want to see what inflation is from 2017 to 2019? All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do change. So 95 minus 103, this is your change, over the original. 2017 was the original, so 95 is the original, times 100. Okay, and that will give us inflation of 8.4%. So from 2017 to 2019, prices rose 8.4%. Why is that important? Because if my salary hasn't changed, I am poorer because prices are almost 10% higher than they were 2 years ago. All right? And so that's how you do a basket and an index, and we'll do some more in class. All right, so what are the types of inflation? There are two types. Demand pull inflation, which is excess spending. People have too much money and they're buying, the demand curve is shifting to the right because there's an increase in the demand, and that's causing prices to go up. Also known as too much money chasing too few goods. Right? Then we have cost price inflation, which is a per unit input cost on the supply side, right? Now we look at nominal income, which is unadjusted for inflation. We have real income, which is nominal income adjusted for inflation. Again, no different than nominal GDP or real GDP. We always want to get the number to real by getting the inflation out. Then we can make comparisons. All right, we have unanticipated versus anticipated income. So who's hurt by inflation, you say? I say fixed income receivers. Anyone who gets the same amount of money each year is going to be hurt by inflation because their real income is falling. If you save money in a bank, you are going to be hurt by inflation unless you get an interest rate that keeps pace or is greater than the rate of inflation, which is really not possible to do currently. All right, and then creditors. Their lenders are getting paid back in cheaper dollars. So I lend you $100, you return it a year from now, and I can't buy the same amount of goods I could a year earlier, which means the money's worth less. All right, who's unaffected by inflation? People who have flexible income. COLAs, cost of living adjustments. That means as inflation goes up, your income goes up. So you get a cost of living adjustment on your salary. Social Security recipients have a COLA. That's therefore the inflation doesn't hurt them. And some unions have those COLAs also. Not all, but some do. And debtors are paying back the money, which is cheaper. So they borrowed $100, which could buy them a pair of sneakers. They're paying back a year later the same $100, and it no longer buys that same pair of sneakers. So the money is worth less that they are paying back. All right, so those are some of the topics with inflation. We will do a couple of practice problems in class, but I'm done. Talk to you later.